Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Daniel. I just wanted to share with you and put my first YouTube video out there. This is my testimony, and I'm coming forth with you because it's been sitting well in my spiritual heart to share this video. I should have shared this months ago, but I feel like something about today was saying that it is time, and I named the channel "It Is Time." So I do hope that what I share with you in this video, that it touches the masses around the world, and when these words come out of my mouth, that it speaks to your spirit and give you an understanding about your life and how you guys would reflect, things that's occurred in your past, and maybe you're trying to seek answers. And I do believe what I will share will provide you these answers, but it is up to you if you decide to take them in. So with that being said, I want to, start. Again, this is a testimony. It'll be quite a long video. Basically, recently I given my life to Christ. It was on December 13th, 2021. December 12th, 2021, the day before, I went through a very, very dark encounter. And I'll explain that to you in a second. But let me talk about my previous life, which led me up to this decision to, from December 12th to December 13th, and what's been going on in my life moving forward. So in my testimony, first of all, in the first 17 plus years growing up, I mean, think about this, guys. This is over 6,205 plus days, waking up, thinking I'm in control and so forth. So as a kid growing up, I grew up in a household where my mother is, very hardworking woman, working multiple jobs. My dad, on the other hand, was not like that. My dad, he worked, but not as much as my mom, as much as I hate to say it. But it was one of those things that my dad, sober, was very, he was very verbally abusive. He was getting annoyed easily. I mean, we were kids doing dumb things. And listen, Dad, if you see this video, I love you regardless. But now I understand what's going on with you. So just don't feel like I'm judging you. But this is the truth. So, growing up as a kid, I've witnessed a lot of things and been in some dark places as a kid. Seeing shadowy spirits when I was a kid, did not understand, did not click. I remember going to a church and going through this church. I remember, the pastor. His name is Michael Peace, great pastor, by the way, and up there in Rochester, New York. And but the thing is that as he was preaching, I did not understand that one word. Could not understand a word. Couldn't understand the sermons. Didn't understand the parables. It was like going in one ear out the other. And I remember as a kid, I given my life to Christ and not feeling anything. And I couldn't understand it. I just knew it was good to follow God, but I didn't understand it, if that makes sense. So, and we all heard the stories, right? You got God, you have His Son. Didn't know anything about the Holy Spirit. Don't even recall anything about the Holy Spirit. But it was interesting, and it could have been preached, but again, a lot of it was foreign to me. It's like somebody speaking Chinese, and I couldn't understand someone speaking, what they were saying. They were speaking to me in English, but I couldn't grasp it. That's when I understand how spiritually blind I was. So, but aside from that, I would go to church and so forth, and then I started to veer off. I started to swear when I was younger, a lot. Then I started to, as the years was going by, I started to, going out to the clubs, drinking, fornicating a lot. I was, blowing money. Every time I had money, I would go right away and blow it. I had a very, very bad game addiction at the time. Failed relationships, being cheated on multiple times. And I was always a loyal dude. I felt, but I wasn't good enough. As a man myself, I wasn't there. So it was one of those things that I have to take ownership on that as well, because that blame comes up on me. So, but at the same time, I realized that in those relationships, we were never equally yoked, which I'll talk about that later on. Now, in this, so again, so I'm going through this for over 17 years of my life. It led me up till December 9th, right? December 9th, 2021. I remember I was doing a deal with this lady. I used to do door-to-door sales out here in Florida. And I remember this one lady coming up. Her name is Marty. Marty, if you see this video, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I'm glad I had that conversation with you that day. So I'm going to share this in this video. So I remember she's coming up the driveway, and I'm doing the deal with her mother. And she asked me a simple question. She asked me and said, just out of curiosity, if you were to die today, do you know if you would go to heaven? And I remember this question has been asked to me multiple times. And personally, for me, I said, well, yeah, I'm a good dude. I believe I'll be in heaven. And I will never forget the response that she said. She said, well, don't you think if everybody was so good, do you think everybody would make it to heaven? And at that moment, I heard a little like a whisper or a voice in the back of my head, and the voice said, now, why would you say that? Not to her, but to me, because my response was, yeah, I believe I'll go to heaven. I'm a good person, blah, blah, blah. And this conversation went on for like an hour. And in the process, I remember as I was getting ready to leave, she said, is it okay if I pray for you? And I was like, of course, I'm not going to turn down prayer. So she's praying over me. It was to actually help me cancel soul ties that I had for the women that I've been with. And as she's praying over me and canceling these soul ties or breaking these soul ties, I was literally feeling something leave my body. I can't explain it, but I was feeling something leaving, where my response out of my mouth, I said, whoa, what is that? Like, I was like, what is that? Mind you, I'm under prayer as this is happening. So I was like, and out loud, I said, whoa. And then all of a sudden she started to praying about, if there's any demons within me, you must leave this man at once, etc. And I will never forget this. All of a sudden, I chuckled under that prayer. When I chuckled, it was like, like that. And in my mind, I was like, well, wait a minute. My body just naturally reacted that way. What is that? And I knew something was wrong with me. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's something going on. Now, just to give you guys an idea, this is a very powerful testimony because there's something that I had in my room for about 3 weeks. And I have to share this because this is the complete truth. I'm just here to share with you the truth. That is it. It is up to you on how you guys want to take this. So I sat there and, I remember asking Marty, I asked Marty a question. I said, Marty, what is your take on shrooms? Now, I had a chocolate bar infused with shrooms. They call it psychedelics. And mind you, I've never taken drugs at this point at all. And I just had it there because the person that influenced me to even consider something like this was Mike Tyson. Because if everybody know that Mike Tyson was that ferocious boxer in the ring. Man, he was full of anger and so forth. But then all of a sudden, a huge 180 occurred in his life. And I was trying to say, how did Mike Tyson go from that to that? So in my mind, I had this bar in my room for 3 weeks. And then upon in those 3 weeks, I was doing my research, finding out that magic mushrooms have been used for over 1,000 years. And apparently people face demonic entities. They call them bad trips. But they had demonic entities that they faced. A lot of people ran to some type of religious or their belief, and they just got into their faith so hard, really hard, locked in. And so that's what I had in my room for 3 weeks because, again, that's my first time even considering something like this. But I asked Marty, I said, Marty, what is your take on shrooms? And I will never forget this response. She said, I will not take them if I were you, that you are taking a shortcut to the spiritual world that you're not supposed to be in. And due to my arrogance, I said, in my mind, I said this. I said, well, little that you know, I'm planning on taking it this Sunday, which is December 12th, 2021. So after I left, Sunday comes along, about 3:30. I I sat there, I was like, you know what, it's time that I take this, and I kept beating myself in my head. I'm like, there's no way I could be either potentially facing a demon or whatever the case is. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm going to give you my experience. Again, this is my testimony. And I know there's many others that had similar experiences over the past 1,000 years. And there's a reasoning behind this. And I want you to grasp this. I want you guys to understand this. So I taken half of the bar. It was a chocolate bar. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty good. It tasted good. I'm a sweets guy. So I taken half of the bar, and out of this experience, I remember I wasn't feeling nothing. I had Avatar playing on the Disney Channel, and I will never forget that as I'm sitting on the couch, my leading up to this point, I've always felt like my thinking was always on the left side of the brain. I've always felt that my left side of the brain was operational, like it was working. But in this experience, I started to feel that this was unlocking my right side. And I didn't understand that. Then all of a sudden, I'm sitting down at the table, right at this table here. And I remember looking, I was going in and out of the house, by the way. I was going in and out of the house. Everything was becoming very vibrant for me. Then all of a sudden I started to laugh out of nowhere. It would just happen out of nowhere. Like I'm just laughing. But I didn't get it. I was like, why am I laughing? There's nothing funny. I'm just laughing. So I come back inside the home, and I was sitting on the table on the opposite side from where I'm at right now. And I was looking at this back sliding window door right here. Now there's trees in my backyard. And I will never forget throughout this experience that what I saw would appear to be like it looked like if it was a black lion of some sort. And as it opened up its mouth, it was like orange red fire, but not like the cheesy fire flames that people see. It looked like lava type of thing. And its eyes. And literally my first words was like, whoa, what is that? And then right after that, man, I wish I could make this up. In that backsliding window right behind me, I saw a tall, black, shadowy figure literally walking right from the far side from here all the way to here. And it literally turned and it looked at me, look at it. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that the moment I seen this thing, I said, whoa, what the F is that? And obviously, guys, I wasn't saved. So just giving you a heads up. So I said, whoa, what the F is that? And all of a sudden, it just rushed me. I started to yawn a lot, and I'm like, why I keep yawning? Then I started to feel my jaw stretch down. And then I just like stood there so long where saliva was dripping from my mouth, just stuck. And my jaw was like wide open. And I'm just like staring at that back window. And all of a sudden I snapped into reality. I was like, whoa, what is that? Then I wiped my mouth. So I was like, yo, what is that? And as I'm walking around in the house, I started to chuckle. I started to laugh. But that laugh started to sound like if it was sinister. And when that was happening, now this wall right here, that's towards the window, I remember placing my forehead up on that wall. And I'm laughing. And again, this is a sinister laugh, guys. I want you to really grasp this. This was a sinister laugh coming out of my body, okay? I cannot stress this enough, man. I really want you guys to understand this. It was sinister. It was not no regular laugh that I normally laugh and so forth, but it was sinister. It was pure evil. And I will never forget these words coming out of my body. And it said, I have him and he is mine now. And in my mind, I said, what just spoke out of my body? And who are you talking to? Nobody's in my house. And I'm sitting there. And tears is coming down my eyes. Snot is coming down my nose. And one of my boys, he comes over to the house and he said, Daniel, did you take it? And I said, yeah. And I said, dude, there's something going on with my body. I can't explain it. I said, my arm during this point, right before he stepped in, my arm was contorting. It was twisting in a weird way. And it was not me that was doing it, guys. I really want you to grasp this. And I'm in my body, what you see out of your eyes right now, I'm seeing this through my mind, but everything seems zoomed out. Like if my hands are here, my hands look like they were like this far, but my hands are really this close. So I really want you to understand what's going on in my mental and spiritually. So I remember him coming by and he said, Daniel, are you okay? And I'm like, dude, I don't know what it is. I need you to grab me a Bible. And as he comes closer to me with the Bible, I started to back away. Like my body started to get away from the Bible. And I will never forget that as I'm trying to get close, I'm literally just crying. Again, snot coming down my nose and my jaw is being pulled down. And he's witnessing this. And I kept going in and out of my mind of some sort, not an out-of-body experience. But I was like, I was zoomed out. But I kept going in and out, staring at the ceiling, jaw was being pulled. And it's like this entity was just trying to take over. And that's when I knew it was game on from this point. And boy, I felt helpless. I felt ashamed during this process because I said, I allowed something to step into my body and I don't even know who to go to with this. And as he brought the Bible, I will never forget, he put the Bible, got my Bible open right here, guys, right? He put the Bible and he put it right in front of me. And again, my body's rejecting it right on this kitchen counter, right? And I will never forget, I think it was in Isaiah that he had open. And the quotations that came from Adonai or Yahweh, the quotations of those verses, you can actually see the words literally lift from the Bible. And I told him, I said, his name is Ron. I said, Ron, I'm looking at black bolded letters or wording and they lifted off the Bible. I said, are those quotations coming from God? And he said, yes. At that moment, I realized, now I understand that his word is alive during this experience, right? And I was like, wow. And I remember still trying to reach for the Bible, still trying to reach. And I finally had my left hand touch the Bible, and boy, it twisted. It twisted within my body, and I'm holding my arm. And I said, oh, what is this? And again, throughout this moment, at this point, I confirmed that I was going through a demonic possession, where this thing literally tried to take over my body. And going through this experience, I felt like God was saying, you still don't believe me yet. You have to go through this experience so you understand how real I am and my son was when he was in this world. And I went through this experience crying out to him, man, I'm a big guy, man. I'm 210 pounds. I played semi-pro football when I was in New York, and I played baseball, very good at baseball and so forth. But I'm a good fit guy. And one thing I noticed about the Spirit is that it doesn't care how big you are. It doesn't care how small you are. When it latches on into your body and your nervous system or in your brain, it takes control of your physicality, of your arms, your neck, and your legs and so forth. And I will never forget throughout this experience as well that as I was walking, it dropped me right on my knees. And in my mind, I'm trying to fight this thing. I had conscious of my right arm, but my left arm was just constantly twisting. I'm trying to hold it from preparing from any dislocations or anything like that, because we've all seen these movies, right? In these movies, people are going through these demonic possessions. They're contorting in different ways. And I said, man, God, please don't tell me this is going to happen to me. So I going through this experience, I'm dropping onto my knees and I'm holding onto the Bible for dear life. For dear life, I'm holding onto the Bible. I go upstairs, and during this experience, I remember I take out my cell phone, and man, when I'm telling you I'm watching my thumbs text, it was not me texting. I am literally seeing my thumbs texting my little brother, my mom, my boy David. And I'm literally seeing my thumbs text, but I'm telling you people, it was not me texting. I am seeing just my thumbs move. And I didn't want nobody to know what was going on. And what I realized about this thing, this entity was actually taking pride. And it literally said, I have him and he is mine. It kept saying that. And my little brother FaceTimed me. I kept going in and out of my body, going upstairs, in and out of my body again. Not in and out of my body, but in and out of my thoughts, I guess. Like being zoomed out, zoomed back in, zoomed out, and then normal. Zoomed out, then normal. That's what I'm going to call it. And my brother was panicking. He was like, Danny, what's wrong? What's wrong? And I said, I just kept crying out to the Lord, man. I kept crying out to God. And my mother got on the phone. And I will never forget that when my mother, when she was on the phone, you know, she called me, and then she's obviously like moms, she's panicking. And when she heard the enemy speak out of my body, heard that entity, she said, oh no, you got to go. And she was concerned, and she was like, you know, she said, you know, Danielito, that's my name in Spanish. She's like, Danielito, she was like, come on, come back. And then as I'm coming back, and I said, Mom, I need a prayer right away. Pray. Like, I need something. I was like, I don't know what to do in this process. And as she's praying over to me, she told me to repeat after her. So, you know, we can cast out the demon. We were reciting, I forgot this prayer, but it was like, Our Father who art in heaven, and hallowed be your name. But during this prayer, I tried to even say Jesus' name. And one thing I realized out of this experience, when I tried to say Jesus' name, this thing kept choking me over and over and over. And when I tell you people, at that moment in my mind, I said, oh, you are real. And at that moment, I said, he is your weakness, because every time I try to say his name, he will not come out. And going through this process, I was yelling in my room demonically. I was just yelling. And when my mother finished the prayer, she was on speakerphone. It was this hand right here, my right hand now. And as she's saying this prayer, my hand twisted and the phone dropped right in front of me. And I'm on my knees. And as she's saying it out loud, I was literally yelling demonically. It was a very nasty grunting sound coming out, you know, leaving out of my body. And as I'm yelling and she's saying this prayer, I kid you not, I saw what it appeared to be was like, it was like thin grayish smoke, not like vibrant smoke that you would see, but it was super light, but you can see it. And it was leaving out of my mouth, and I'm just like stretching out. And then all of a sudden I puked. And when I puked, I was like, whoa, what, you know, I was like, what is going on? And I go into the bathroom, and I found out I still had another one in me. And, you know, at this point, I undress, I'm fully naked, looking at myself in the mirror, and I'm realizing there's another spirit that's in me. And this one was different. And as I was I communicated, I said, who are you? What is your name? I never got a name, but I will never forget that this thing says, I've been around you for over 17 years, in and out of your body. And it was taking pride of my tattoos that I have on my body. And guys, just to give you an idea, this tattoo, right, snake, right? Love kills slowly. It was just, I got this tattoo at that particular time because I was just cheated on. I was calling women snakes, and it resembled sadness and sorrow at that time. Then I got another tattoo that says, it's a Brooklyn tattoo, that's where I'm from. And then it has a crown on it, and that resembled ego and pride. Then this tattoo right here is supposed to be a tribal Scorpio tattoo, and that resembled pride. Now I have another tattoo that's on my back. It's like stripes right here, and it's like a belt, but it's a big one that was never finished. And I will never forget that this thing said, I am one of the fallen ones. And I remember when I was, in this time, right before I taken this psychedelic chocolate bar, whatever you want to call it, so to speak, I remember when people would ask me, hey, what does your tattoo resembles? Naturally out of my mouth, again, this is before the experience, naturally out of my mouth, I would say it resembles shattered wings. And I never understood that. but it would just naturally come out of my mouth. What I'm trying to explain to you guys is that, guys, the enemy works in a way where he is in you, and when you naturally say things out of your mouth, it is actually not you that's saying it. It is the enemy using you to say those words. And I will never forget, people would just be like, that's interesting. My tattoos are my testimony. That's why I keep them on. Honestly, there is a part of me I'm thinking about getting rid of them. I'm going to be honest with you. But at the same time, it's part of my story. And or my testimony, I shouldn't say story. And throughout this experience, it was December 13th comes along, right? And when December 13th comes along, I contacted Marty, and because there was something about her, right? She had that aura. She was praying over me and so forth. So I contacted Marty, and I said, I confessed to her what happened, what I did, taking the shrooms chocolate bar, blah, blah, blah. And I will never forget what she said to me, man. And this, I just am super, super, super thankful for her being there on December 9th, and then me confessing to her on what I did. And she said, okay, you definitely came across a demon. And what do you want to do? Now you know that they're real. Now you've went through this experience. What do you want to do? She didn't ask me if I want to be a Christian. She didn't ask me, oh, you need Jesus in your life. She didn't say nothing like that. She said, what do you want to do? At that moment in my life, at that exact moment, I looked at my life, and it's like if it was a fork road. And I said, man, this thing told me it was around me for 17 years. Constantly being in insanity, doing the same things over and over, having game addictions, constantly fornicating, blowing money over and over. And I said, if I go that path, I know I'm not going to be happy. But one thing for certain, I need to understand what Jesus did here, because all I know is that this thing did not like Jesus. And I said to myself, I need to know what he did in this world. And I said, I want to give my life to him and grow this relationship and understand what he did, because clearly I wasn't happy about my previous life.